Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Tania Rubis and I'm so thrilled to be here for an official launch of Living Passionately. From the always thoughtful and practical Terry Moore.
Thank you,
Thank you
Tania.
so much. And so if you're felt that something is missing in your life and like your days are just blending into one another, so this conversation is for you. Over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to talk to Terry about what it really means to live with passion. Like no drama, no huge life changes, just small double steps that you can start right now. And feel free to join us today. You have a chance to ask Terry your questions in real time, and we're going to have live reading, we're going to have a book giveaway. Let's start and let's see what you can do with your life and why even the smallest part of your life can become full with joy and happiness and joy.
Yes,
So thank you so much. Thank you and
Tanya,
congratulations, Terry.
Tanya, thank you for taking the time and your interest in living passionately, which I'm pleased to say is now available, and I hope will be a help to a lot of people.
Hopefully, I know. And I want to ask you, like we have this book, Living Passionately, but I think the subtitle of it might as well be like for anyone who feels like something is missing. What inspired you to write it? And did you go through some times when you felt like something is really missing, then you figured it out and found it out?
Well, it really has its origin in my own spiritual journey, which has been long and involved. And at some point a few years ago, I realized that many of the gatherings that I attended, many of the retreats and productions, whether they were a week or a weekend or longer, there were inevitably people there who had been working at this process. They had been engaged in this journey for a long time and very sincerely, but they felt somehow stalled, or their process had become empty, or their practice rote and mechanical. And they were not getting as much out of it as they expected to, or they might get out of it, and it wasn't nourishing and helpful. So I looked at that problem for a long time, and then I did a lot of research. Part of my
What
background
was
is
that, like
in
research?
comparative philosophy, and comparative religion and comparative mysticism. And it became very clear to me that all of the big names that we know, all of the great saints and sages of history, from all cultures, whether we're talking about Saint Teresa or Honin or Hui Hai or Ibn Arabi or Rumi, they all came from traditions and practices that included all of their being. This wasn't just a matter of learning a philosophy or a particular ritual. And as I looked at it, it occurred to me that there were a number of distinct elements that apply to all of us. And I reduced those to four: body, mind, heart, and soul. And by that I mean body, something that we do with our body; mind, which is to say an intellectual activity; heart, an emotional, devotional, or love activity; and last, soul, which is a way of exploring that connection we have with the transcendent, or being part of a whole.
I think this is our number one task right now to figure out where our soul is and to start
Yes.
paying more attention to it.
Well, I think this can help, because as much as we need to pay attention to that soul element, which I agree is the big one that's so often missing, one can't do that best without dealing with the other parts of oneself. And unless we deal with ourselves holistically and look at all of these parts, we'll overemphasize one, we'll ignore one that's holding us back. And I'm not suggesting that all of them need to be balanced in the same way for everyone, but they all need to be addressed, or they'll be holding us back, or we'll be less than we can be.
But you say that that's the guided book. guided journal, not a book. What's
That's
the
right.
difference? Like you have some notes, you put some notes,
Good
you
question.
can use it on a daily basis.
A good question, and an important one, because I've spent a lot of my life with people who thought the answer was in books. And the answer is in books, but it's not just enough to leave them in the book. Because unless something is brought into practice, unless it becomes part of one's life, then it's just an idea. It's just a concept. It may be a beautiful concept. It may be a true concept. But unless one does something with it, unless one takes it and uses it in one's life, it's just an idea. Might be a good idea, but it's just an idea.
Did you have someone in mind while you were writing this book? Is there anyone special?
Well, there isn't any one particular person, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that everybody could use some more attention to some area of their
So
life.
that's the gift to humanity.
Yes, the gift to humanity is this, very simply, you're a whole person. And whatever it is you do, whatever it is you seek, whatever it is you want to try to achieve, whether that's spiritual enlightenment or success at work or being an artist or being a good parent, whatever it is, you need to bring all of yourself into this process, body, mind, heart, and soul. Because if you don't do that, then something is being neglected and you will be less effective at making that transition than you would be if you did include everything.
People still believe, I think it's been a little bit more underestimated. I'm talking about the spiritual part of our life, that if you're spiritual, that some of your other parts like career, money, they suffer. What do you think? Is it true?
Well, I think it can be true, but it isn't necessarily true. If we take parts of our life that involve things that we do, particularly things we do every day, whether it's making breakfast or going to work, we need to include those as part of our spiritual journey by bringing attention, by bringing intention, and by being present in these activities, whether they are simple and mundane or complicated and life-changing. But we need to be fully present for all of these things. And there's no reason why success at work should hold you back spiritually. If you're there at work as a whole person, aware of what you're doing with the intention of being a full person.
You say you can flip to a page and begin. Why did you choose this format?
Well, I chose that format because I didn't want to lay out something that was necessarily linear and methodological, because those things necessarily apply to different people in different degrees. And what I wanted to do was to give everybody a chance to start at a place that was important to them or necessary for them or that they felt earnestly about or could use. So I wrote a book without page numbers so that people could look at the titles of the chapters and see what appeals to them, see if anything resonates with their heart in terms of what they need to do or an area that they would like to focus on, and then turn to that activity or that exercise or that explanation and use it, and then find another one.
And you give their rather simple explanation and rather simple exercises so everyone can understand and relate to.
Well, I didn't make them simple so everybody can understand it. I made them simple because they really are simple. Mm-hmm. And because we're talking about simple changes in life. We're talking about taking small steps that lead to tremendous transformations. But yes, it's written for taking small steps.
And even when someone is feeling stuck and overwhelmed, do you believe that these small steps can really help them?
Absolutely. I think to acknowledge that you're feeling off somehow, stuck, overwhelmed, empty, or whatever, is a great clue that something's missing or something's wrong. And having understood that clue, then the thing to do is to look at oneself, and I apply some techniques for doing that, to see if there is an area that needs more attention, if there is an area that's getting entirely too much attention. And again, this is not about making sure everything is balanced the same, but it's about making sure everything is balanced in the right amount for the individual who needs this particular kind of help at this particular moment. And moments change.
What was the last time when you felt like something is missing in your life?
The last time I felt something was missing was, I was on vacation, and I realized that I had neglected a ritual that I used because it was just inconvenient at the time. That ritual was actually making coffee, which is something I do every day. And the thing that is important for me is not so much the coffee, but I will say I love coffee, but the doing of it, because there's several parts of this process. And when I'm home, I can begin with the right intention. I can make sure I'm fully present. I can conduct this process of making a cup or a pot of coffee. And that's very fulfilling because I'm present. And then I was on vacation, and these things became mechanical, and I realized that, wait, I've left myself out of this equation.
So I think that's the perfect time to have a live reading. We have your book here,
Okay.
Living Passionately, and I would love to hear a few lines from you.
All right,
Something
a few
important,
lines.
or you feel that we really need it today.
All right, I found one.
Okay.
This is number 6, and it's titled, "Is Change Freaking You Out?" Subtitled, "Don't Evaluate Change Prematurely." All right, let me read.
Yes.
Let me read from my book. One of life's most important skills is learning to embrace change. Most people have a lot of trouble with change, yet it's inevitable, and it is in everywhere, and it always is a part of life. So let's make friends with it. When a change comes along, instead of immediately taking a position on it, deciding prematurely what is your stance, what will your stance be toward this, prepare yourself with the expectation that the change will be for the better. To the degree that you believe that expectation is correct and that you live by it, you will find that things actually do work out for the better, because you've given yourself a way to get out of the way of the change. So even if it sounds trite, it's a valuable expectation to have. But even more important, the first instance you notice change or a deviation from how you thought things would be or should be, stop there. Don't make a pronouncement about it. Don't make an evaluation. Is this good? Is this bad? Is this in my interest? Just look at it, see it for what it is, and watch it unfold. Finally, the issue isn't about whether an occurrence is good or bad. It's about being present and being part of the harmony of things. You can't do that if your first reaction is to step back and be judgmental. If you can learn to spot that moment when you first notice a change and then watch what happens as it unfolds, life will be sweeter and life will be clearer. I invite you to practice this skill of simply watching a change in your life without prematurely imposing any value judgments on it. Search your current life as it is now for a change that is just starting to take shape. And then watch it. Just watch it unfold. And it will help, I think, generally, if you focus on it and journalize about it. And that's why I've left space in the book for journalizing. Because when these things happen, one can get a clearer idea if one states them. And then one can go back later and say, yes, I saw it, I wasn't judgmental, and it worked out well. Or whatever the learning experience happens to be.
I really love it. And I think
Absolutely.
that there's one thing, the fear that stands between us and our dreams.
I think that's exactly right. And it's always us that's standing there.
Absolutely. So don't be judgmental
So
because
don't
it's
be
only you.
judgmental. Being judgmental is the first and most difficult of errors.
In your book, you say that you turn the mechanical into meaningful. What's one example that someone can practice it in his life?
Well, one of the things that I use or that I do or that's become a joy for me in many ways is doing the dishes, because I can step back from that experience and not do it mechanically. I can sort of watch my hands do the dishes, and in the process I can be present and know what I'm doing and be fully there for this activity, and it's a joy. It's an occasion when I know that I can do that.
You mentioned rewriting negative narratives. Can you give us a glimpse of how we can use it?
I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Because instead of saying, oh, look at all these dishes I have to do, I can say, here's a chance to get clear and be present and get the dishes done in the process.
And you said that the boredom is being a doorway for us. But we still avoid it. We don't really like this feeling.
Yes, but there's so much to be learned there. People
Because you're
avoid
by
boredom.
yourself, you have time to think.
Well, it's yes, that you do have time to think, but it's also a moment in which you think nothing's happening or things could unfold differently. And instead of avoiding boredom because it's a kind of void, it really is an opportunity for things to unfold. It's that moment in which you can give birth to new things, that unexpected, unforeseen things can come to pass. And instead of just avoiding the moment and trying to distract yourself away from boredom, if you can spot that moment of boredom and say, now what can we do? What can happen next? How can I engage this opportunity? Then it's no longer boredom. It's an opportunity for growth, and these things are everywhere.
I don't know, Terry, because when I have this boredom, I just feel like everybody has his own life around me, and everything is skipping me, I'm in my apartment doing nothing, and I don't see the opportunities. Like everybody else has, but not me.
Well, I think you have plenty of opportunities, but you've taken the first step. You've seen that moment, and now that you've seen that moment of boredom, here's your chance to choose something. Anything, a small change, a small opportunity. There must be something in your life that you'd really like to learn more about, that you love, that you would like to spend more time with, that you would like to do and engage in. And whatever that thing is, in this moment of boredom, you can think about doing that and what the next little step might be toward making that part of your life and bringing this thing that you love or would like to do or know or be in your life. And boredom's the start.
Instead of feeling criticism.
Instead of feeling criticism.
That's
Absolutely.
number one.
Absolutely. There's nothing more damaging than being judgmental, particularly about yourself.
Is there one practice that you do on a daily basis? You really love it?
Well, we've talked about making coffee.
Yeah.
I do that. I also do a morning breathing ritual, which means
Breath
a lot
work.
to me. And breath work, yes, breath work. That I think has been very good for me and that I look forward to doing every day. And let me just step back and say these things also are different between individuals. And there's different breath work that may appeal to different individuals or in different amounts. But this is one example of bringing the body into the practice, because we've talked about the body, the mind, the heart, and the soul. This is the body. People often leave their body out of their growth or out of their spiritual process. But it will be with us forever, for as long as we're alive. We might as well use it, and if we don't, it'll hold us back. So one of the questions is, how can I use my body as part of my process of growth and understanding and enlightenment? And for me, part of that answer is a breathing ritual.
Oh, yeah, you're so right. So I want to turn to our audience, and we have the lightning round with Terry. You feel free to ask any of your questions right now, because we have right now the real time, the
Yes, we
real
do.
questions, the real answers.
Yes, yes. And I should also add that we're going to be giving away a book.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to ask you about the daily ritual you never skip. The coffee, maybe you have something
Yes,
else.
that's one that I never skip, because
Breath work and
the breath work and the coffee. These are morning rituals, which I'm happy to do every day, and that I really never skip. It's important to me to have something there that I can always do, and it really doesn't depend on where I am. I can take that moment and do the breath work. I can be centered. I can be intentional. I can be present.
Is there any quote that really changed your life?
Quotes? Yes, there was a big quote that utterly changed my life. And it started as a high school grammar exercise in which the teacher wrote on the board a number of words and challenged the class to punctuate it correctly. And the words were that, is, that, is, not. And when you got it punctuated correctly, it reads, that is, that is not, is not. And I was just blown away by it. I thought, that's everything. And I remember coming back after class to look at the blackboard. And the corollary of that statement is that there's nothing that is that can ever not be. So there it was. It was a miscellaneous quotation as a high school grammar exercise that had a profound change on my life.
Is there a passion that you discovered in your life? Because we're talking about living
Yes,
passionately.
yes. I've always been a people person, and I've always been a good connector, and I've had some wonderful successes connecting people and projects and ideas and things. But later in life, I realized that I could do some outreach and include more people rather than the onesies and twosies. And that's kind of what we're doing here today, because I've found it's not just individuals, but it's community that's fulfilling. And I think this is a community, and I'd like to be more engaged with it.
I can't agree more. I think I'm not those person who will go to, like we say, to the island with no people and live my happy life. It's not about me, because I feel that community and people is a real energy resource and the sense of life to have this communication with.
Tania, I agree with you completely. I feel the same way. And your question was, what have I discovered? I discovered that not only was this something that I did and was good at, but I can take it to another degree. Instead of being with individuals, it can be about a community. And that's been wonderful.
What does living passionately mean to you?
The title of my book. What it means is being present and reflective about all of the elements of my life, and particularly the ones that I seek to do. I do them not as distractions and not as spare moments, but I do them intentionally with as much presence and then as much reflection as I can, to try to get as much out of the experience of living as I can. And that's been very important to me, Tania.
So anyone who wants to be engaged, drop your questions for Terry in the comments, and I think we have some of them.
And let me also add, we will be
Yes.
giving away a copy of our book.
The copy of the book. Great. So living passionately, guys, this is for you. And I think this is the guided journal will change your life. And
That's
I
its
want,
point.
want everyone to change their life if they want to.
That's right.
Because they will never want to live the old version of their life again anymore.
Right. Live passionately.
So we have some questions. Hey Terry, congratulations on the launch of Living Passionately. I can't wait to check it out. Thank you so much. Congratulations on the launch of your book. Such an amazing work. Oh, that's the question. How do you recommend incorporating these exercises into our day-to-day life?
Okay, that's a very good question. And I think my answer is just start. And it really doesn't matter where, as long as you just start. And this is a particularly good book for that, because you can start anywhere that appeals to you. But just start. Take an activity, write about it, implement it, make it part of your life just for today. See what happens. See what happens with intention and presence and reflection. See what happens. Then it's not just an exercise. It's really part of growth and wisdom.
Do you think, is there any specific period of time that works for anyone who will read your book?
Period of time?
Like maybe it will change, the life will change in maybe a couple of months or immediately or maybe some years.
Very much an individual situation, but I would think for some people, they will get it immediately and say, this is something I can do. I've found this I love, I'm going to be doing this. Others will get the scent and wander through the book and find something in some time. But it's about change, and we can all change.
And the last question is for today, where can I get your book? And the good news is that it's going to be available on May 25th, guys. So get a copy, flip the pages, read it, and change your life for the best.
Yes, please. Get the book and use it. Don't just get it, use it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this rich, grounded conversation. That was amazing.
Tania, thank you for your attention and your great questions and your obvious passion about this topic.
Oh yeah, and I have the name who's getting the book, because we have this book giveaway.
All right.
And the name is Leah Dolce. Congratulations to our winner.
Thank you. Thank you for participating, Leah. We will get you your book immediately.
Can I have a sign in your book?
Of course.
Can you sign it? Absolutely.
Of course, I'll sign the book.
Thank you so much. Again, Leah Dolce,
Thank you for
congratulations.
joining us.
And thank you for this conversation. Thank you, everyone who was with us today.
Donna,
That was great.
thank you, and thank you
Let's
for joining
change
us.
life. Come on, that's time.